see, they're McDonald's. I'm McDowell's.
In the food world, branding is everything, and when someone has a great idea, it's not long before someone else tries to piggyback off of it, like these top 15 weirdest knockoff food brands.
They've got Egg McMuffins. We got Egg McStuffins.
Fruit rings.
Just waiting for my breakfast. Lois!
Oh, look, it's everybody's favorite childhood brand of cereal, Fruit Rings. Yeah, something doesn't sound right with that statement, does it? Well, that's because Fruit Rings are not the cereal you've come to know and love, but rather an exact replica of Kellogg's Fruit Loops. Or at least that's the vibe they're giving out.
Not bad. Not bad.
Switching out the familiar loop for a ring and using the correct spelling for fruit, this box of cereal never fooled anyone. With the same color on the packaging, same cereal colors, and similar font, the resemblance was just too uncanny to ignore. A lot of companies have tried to benefit from Toucan Sam's success over the years, but the most notable one has got to be Ralston, which introduced its fruit rings in 1988. Sure, it might be a tasty breakfast option if there's nothing else on the shelves, but nothing could ever compare to the original loops.
It is the best.
712.
Johnny, have you tried this Slurpee?
7-Eleven is a very popular convenience store chain that has expanded worldwide, and yet some parts of the world are still trying to mimic the chain. Many knockoffs exist, all playing on the store's famous name. In China, you won't find any 7-Elevens, but you might find a 712. It's basically a mini-mart with a similar entryway and familiar colors.
Hurry up and buy!
You can also find 9-1, which didn't bother using the same number, but one quick look at the store is enough to make the connection immediately. 7-Eleven was originally named after its practical opening hours, but with more of these fake stores opening, the harder it becomes to understand what the name stands for. Other counterfeits around Asia include 7-7 in South Korea, 7 Days in Vietnam, which only makes sense if they're actually open 7 days, 7 Bright in Cambodia, and Japan's 7 Mercy.
There's too many of them!
MaDonal.
Sorry, what?
From the burger joint, Mickey D's. Ronald McDonald's.
McDonald's is undoubtedly one of the most successful fast food companies in the entire world, so it was only a matter of time before some people wanted their own piece of the pie by going with what works.
It makes sense, doesn't it?
However, that often results in some very weird, very obvious knockoff restaurants that don't necessarily always compare to the original Golden Arches. For instance, Iraq has MaDonal, and no, it's not a typo. The building is red with a golden M painted on the front, and it serves burgers and fries just like at a regular McDonald's. While the restaurant is awfully similar to the American chain, the founder, Suleiman Kassab, is not committing copyright infringement since the design and logo aren't exact replicas.
I see what you did there. Good one.
Jay's Chips.
We're on strike.
Hunger strike.
You're eating potato chips.
When it comes to potato chips, there are plenty of types to go around. But of course, there are bound to be a few similar offerings in the mix, like Jay's Potato Chips, for example. Lay's is probably one of the most dominant sellers in the potato chip biz and one of the most popular in North America, ever since it was first created in 1932.
Delicious.
While Jay's Chips sounds a lot like a copycat of Lay's, it was actually created 5 years before Lay's. It just had a different name when it was rebranded right after World War II. It was then named Mrs. Japp's after Eugenia Japp, the one who invented the recipe. But no matter if Jay's was indeed on the market before Lay's or not, the name it chose made it forever in the shadow of Lay's.
How sad is that?
Sunbucks Coffee.
Another cold brew? Don't mind if I cold do.
It's no surprise that China really loves knockoff brands, but this particular one takes the cake. Starbucks is another world-renowned international chain that has seen a lot of knockoffs, and Sunbucks Coffee is definitely one of the most obvious. It really is a stellar imitation. It has the same green and white logo with the 2 little stars, only it replaces the 2-tailed mermaid with the face of a Chinese dragon. Basically, a classic case of, you can copy my homework, but don't make it obvious. China also has Buckstars Coffee, and an even more vulgar one,
What?
They all serve coffee, just like Starbucks. The only question is it as good as the real thing?
Would you be requiring a cold beverage while you're here?
I'd love some coffee.
OFC.
Cuckoo-ca-cha!
If your brand uses an abbreviation as a name like KFC, it can be pretty easy to copy it, subtly, of course. Again, found in China, OFC is a fried chicken and burger joint obviously modeled after KFC.
It tastes just like KFC. I know, right?
But the OFC abbreviation in this case stood for Obama Fried Chicken. Indeed, used as a logo instead of good old Colonel Sanders, OFC features an image of former President Barack Obama, smiling with the same bow tie, apron, and red and white color scheme. The restaurant was opened by 3 college kids in Beijing, but after KFC heard about it and considered taking legal action, they decided to change the abbreviation to UFO and gave the joint a space theme. Even though the name is still pretty similar, we doubt they also got their hands on the secret 11 herbs and spices recipe.
Can anyone guess the secret ingredient?
Dr. Bob.
I guess I'm not technically a doctor.
Well, one thing is for sure, this doctor did not get his doctorate from a real school. Dr. Bob is a clear ripoff of the one and only Dr. Pepper. With 23 secret ingredients in its recipe and a unique taste that is yet to be 100% recreated by anyone, Dr. Pepper has a lot going for it to make other companies very envious.
That must be the sugar. Oh God, that's good.
Around since the 1880s, the original soda brand has gathered a lot of popularity over the years and built a pretty big name for itself, which is why brands like Dr. Bob have been desperate to find even just a tiny bit of fame by piggybacking off the soda brand. As we keep moving on, take a second to hit that like button, would ya?
Thank you. Next!
H&H.
Candy! Candy!
Everybody knows M&Ms are the ultimate movie, road trip, and, well, just about any occasion snack you should always have on hand. The melt-in-your-mouth, not-in-your-hands candy has been around since the 1940s and has become a true icon. H&H's, on the other hand, not so much. The peanut-covered treat didn't try very hard to cover up the fact that it was ripping off an already beloved brand. Let's count the similarities, shall we?
No, I can't take it.
I can't take it, Jerry. It's too much. It's too much.
You've got the obvious name resemblance, with only the letters changing, the overall branding, from the color of the packaging to the font, and we can't forget the very happy, very familiar mascot featured on the bag. A living, smiling, colorful chocolate treat as the face of the brand. Remind you of anything? The only slight difference would have to be the unusually big teeth the H&H mascot has. Needless to say, these most definitely melt in your hand.
That doesn't sound good.
Duffin Dagels.
Do you normally take coffee with your sugar?
What?
In America, the world runs on coffee joints, donut shops, and hybrid stores just like Dunkin' Donuts. In Spain, it's the same, only the dominant player in that department is Duffin Dagels. Yes, Duffin Dagels. It's not a spelling error, and it's actually a very popular coffee and bagel chain, and a clear knockoff of Dunkin' Donuts.
It's not a burn from Dunkin' Donuts coffee.
Not only does it bear a similar letter font and the same color scheme, only reversed, but it also serves many of the same menu items under slightly different names. Coffee, frappes, slushy drinks, and a gigantic selection of donuts, all served in similar interiors and similar packaging. A true doppelganger chain. So if you're ever in Spain and you're missing your reliable cup of Joe from Dunkin', don't worry, you've got Duffin to satisfy your craving.
Nice.
Sunny day.
Let's see, we got soda, purple stuff. Sunny D, all right.
Sunny Day could strangely be the original name of the popular orange drink Sunny D. However, it is actually a fast food place in Yemen. You can probably already tell by the white, green, and yellow color scheme and the lettering what this restaurant is modeled after, the one and only Subway.
Subway? Ho!
Obviously, the name sounds nothing like the original, other than the fact that it rhymes, which is why Sunny Day has been able to ride just above the jurisdiction of copyright infringement and keep its recognizable marketing. Even though the real Subway has had a presence in the Middle East for more than 30 years, it clearly hasn't stopped them from creating multiple substitutes for the sandwich chain. Another notable knockoff is found in Iran, and the sign consists of Subway's letters scattered randomly, along with an extra S and E, just 'cause.
Cool, no doubt.
Scandinavian Swimmers.
Arrowheads, more pottery, Also found some weird-looking gummy candy.
These are basically just like the Swedish fish you all know and love, only now they're not just from Sweden and have embraced the entire Scandinavian territory. Sold at Trader Joe's around the country, Scandinavian Swimmers have the same texture as their Swedish counterparts, as well as the same vibrant hues and chewiness.
Chewy? Chewy!
But one of the great things about these is how they are made with colors derived only from naturally available products, like fruit and vegetable extracts. The main difference between Swedish fish and Scandinavian Swimmers is the shape of the gummies. The Swimmers each have a unique shape with their own distinct flavor. There's an orange-flavored rockfish, a huckleberry dolphin, a mango peach seahorse, and a berry red lobster. So if you've ever tired of eating the same old fish candy, now you know you have a bunch of varied sea creatures to munch on instead.
Awesome!
Borneo.
Never heard of that.
As America's #1 favorite cookie, Oreos are sure to be the target of many, many copycats. And the clever names and obvious branding knockoffs have not disappointed. Marketed as the chocolate sandwich cookie, Oreos have always been synonymous with cream filling between two chocolate cookies, which companies went to great lengths to recreate. Borneo is a good example of flagrant copying with its vanilla cream and white and blue packaging. You also have Boreo cookies, an Egypt-based brand that features a similar, intriguing design on the cookie. The Okie Dokie cookies, great name on that one. The cream between, and the weirdest of them all, Oreo spelled with an I, which isn't even exactly a cookie, but still has the exact same logo and name. This whole rip-off thing is even funnier when you know that Oreos were originally a rip-off themselves. Indeed, Hydrox cookies were the inspiration of the Oreos we know today.
Mother, Oreo smoothie now!
Pizza Hat.
Pizza time.
If you Google Pizza Hat, the first thing you'll encounter is Pizza Hut, as it simply assumes you made a typo. The second thing will be a bunch of people wearing silly, flat, circular-shaped pizza hats. And then, if you do a little more digging, you'll eventually end up with Pizza Hat, the Iran-based pizza joint. Because of the government prohibiting business with Western cultures, countries like Iran had to come up with some ideas if they still wanted to enjoy popular franchises. And the best way to do that is to change up a letter or two and bingo.
Easy peasy.
Pizza Hat has the same color scheme, menu, and logo, except for a little variation, the famous hat. After all, there's got to be at least some kind of connection with the name of the restaurant, right?
Indeed.
Indeed.
Cat Caught.
Very original, Stephen.
Kit Kats have been thriving for over 80 years, so of course it was only a matter of time before someone else tried to get in on that success. However, Cat Caught isn't exactly the most appetizing name there is. It sounds more like it could be some sort of a luxury kitty litter box, not a tasty chocolate treat, but oh well. The funniest thing about this knockoff, apart from the name, is the fact that it used the exact same slogan. You know, the one from the famous commercials that's on every bar. Only this bar reads, "Have a break, have a cat caught." Talk about originality.
Oops.
At this point, they should have just named it Cat Kit to really steer into the skid. With the same chocolate bar, branding, slogan, and almost the same name, Cat Caught has probably fooled more than one person into thinking it was the real deal.
Boom it, go on and boom it.
KingBurger.
This is a tasty burger.
It's not a small thing to call yourself the king of burgers, and Burger King has definitely earned that title by offering delicious and unique burgers. That doesn't mean, however, that there aren't any other great burger joints around. But since there can only be one king, people had to get creative. This is where chains like KingBurger come into play. This Ontario, Canada-based fast food joint found the perfect loophole to avoid getting sued for copyright infringement by simply swapping the two names.
Good for them.
All while somewhat keeping the same meaning. While it doesn't necessarily mean that KingBurger is a bad knockoff, it still could have come up with a less obvious name, like Burger Friends did. Although that one did keep the same round, red, yellow, and blue button-looking icon, so really, maybe it's all the same at the end of the day.
Yeah, baby.
Get a taste of more great videos. Just tap or click. Hit that subscribe button and ring that bell to join our notification squad.